This is a video for Co-op Latin Form 1 Part B for March 27. I cannot figure out what lesson you are on, but I think it's around Unit 5 review, Lesson 33. But even if it isn't, if it's Lesson 32 or Lesson 31, Lesson 33 is a unit review, so I'll just talk about today all of Unit 5, okay? And this will be a short video. You guys are pretty set for your second conjugation verbs, but a little review can't hurt, okay? So, just some verb grammar that y'all already know, but it's good to review. Verbs have several different aspects, right? So you have number, singular or plural, which is one or more than one. So you have number, you have person, so that's first, second, or third, which is I or we, you or y'all, and he, she, it, or them. So we have number and person. We have tense, which is, there are 6 options for tense, right? Present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. And we know present is describing things happening now. Imperfect is an incomplete past action. Future is an action that will happen later on. Perfect is a completed past action. Pluperfect is a completed past action happening earlier on than another complete past action. And a future perfect is an action happening at a point between the future and now. So the way we translate that is, I will have gone to the store when I go to bed tonight, which isn't actually true of today, but you get the point. So yes, so number, person, and tense. We also have mood and voice. So mood, there are a few different moods. The mood you know right now is the indicative. And the indicative mood is for statements of fact, of real things that happened. But you don't need to know much about mood right now other than the indicative. We'll learn a lot about that later in life. And the voice you do know about. So voice can be either active or passive. With an active verb, the subject of the sentence is doing the action. Whereas for a passive verb, the subject is receiving the action. So this is, the difference between I love coffee and I am loved by my mother. So the one about coffee is active because I am doing the action of the loving. Whereas the second sentence, I am loved or I'm being loved, is passive because I am the subject, but I'm not doing the action, I'm receiving the action. Okay, so those are the 5. And then there's also the 6th aspect of verbs is conjugation, and there are 4 conjugations, as you already know. And in this unit, in Unit 5, you've been talking about the second. You've learned all the second conjugation verbs and their conjugations in the indicative. So you know how to form verbs, but I'm going to talk about it again. The way you form the present is to take either the first principal part, which is the present active indicative, or the second principal part, which is the present active infinitive. If you take the present active infinitive, you take it and you cut off its end, which is re. So let's take moneo, for example. The principal parts of moneo are moneo, monere, monui, monitus. Right? So we take the second principal part, monere, and you cut off the re. So you get monet. Okay? Then what do? You add the the active personal endings. So those are o or im, s, t, mus, tis, and nt. Easy enough. So your present indicative active of moneo is moneo, mones, monet, monemus, monetis, monent. Okay, easy. How do you do the imperfect? You take the present active infinitive, which is your second principal part, cut off your re ending, and you add the tense sign for the imperfect, which is ba. And then you add the personal endings active again. So you get mon, ba, okay, mone bam, mone bas, mone bat, mone bamus, mone batis, mone bant. Easy enough. What about the future? You take your second principal part, you cut off your re, and you add your future tense sign, and then the personal ending. So you get mone b-o, mone bis, mone bit, mone bimus, mone bitis, and then mone bunt. Okay, now you do the perfect. Now we're moved on from the present system to the perfect system, which is perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. And how do we form those? Well, we move on. We don't use the second principal part anymore. This time we're going to use the third principal part of your verb, which is, in the case of moneo, monui. Okay, and that's the perfect active indicative principal part. And then what you do there for the perfect is, since it's already the perfect, you just take it and you add your perfect ending. So you get monui, monuisti, monuit, monuimus, monuitis, monuistis, monuerunt. Okay? You do the pluperfect by taking your perfect stem, which you get by going to the third principal part, and you cut off the I, so you get monu. Okay? Then you add the imperfect of sum, which is eram. Okay? So you get monueram, monueras, monuerat, monueramus, monueratis, monuerant. And that's how you form your pluperfect of moneo. To form the future perfect is similar, except instead of using the imperfect of sum, you use the future of sum. So you get monuero, monueris, monuerit, monuerimus, monueritis, monuerint. Now, here's only exception. The third person plural, you would expect to be monuerunt, right? Because the third person plural of the future of sum is erunt. But we don't want it to match the perfect active indicative third person plural, which was monuerunt. So we make the future perfect ending in the third person plural, monuerint. Okay. So that's the formation of your second conjugation verbs, which is the same as your formation of the first conjugation verbs. Nothing new under the sun. One of the important things you should be able to do at this point is to tell me if you see a word, whether it's first or second conjugation. And if you're just looking at the first principal parts, you won't necessarily know which conjugation it belongs to unless you have memorized it. So do memorize it. But if you get a second principal part and I ask you to identify which conjugation it belongs in, you would be able to tell based on the conjugation vowel, right? So in laudo, if I gave you laudare, you would know that it's in the first conjugation because you have that A, the laudare, that A. Whereas if it had been a second conjugation verb, it would have been laudere with an E, but it's not that. So that's how you can tell and identify which conjugation a verb belongs in. Let's see, make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, here's my suggestion. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure which lesson you're supposed to be on. But let's say that this week you should either do or do again your Unit 5 review. And next week, starting next week, we'll move on to the Unit 1, 2, and 4. Well, no, sorry. 1, 2, and 5 review, which is in lesson 34. Okay, so this week just do your Unit 5 review, which is lesson 33, even if you're doing it again, and we'll move on next week. God bless you.